Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner Classic/Non-Classic. This is episode number 544 and Doubleshot 450. Like I said in the last episode, one Spider-Man trade, one X-Men trade. First up, it is Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows Volume 2, The Venom Experiment. Excuse me. Collecting issues 6 through 12 of Renew Your Vows Volume 2. Written by Jerry Conway and Ryan Stegman. Of course, Ryan Stegman also does the artwork for the series for pretty much all these issues. Yep. Well, he does it for issues 6 through 9. For issues 10 through 12. For issue 10, it's done by Nathan Stockman. And issues 11 and 12 is done by Brian Level. 6 through 8 is I think it's a 3-parter, I think it is. No, I think it might be just a 2-parter. Yeah, it's featuring the debut of this universe version of the X-Men. And, of course, they reference the events of Civil War, where apparently it didn't exactly happen. Where instead of a Super Retration Act, it became self-policing. I don't know why, but okay, fine. Oh yeah, and also in this reality, Wolverine and Jean Grey are married, and they got a kid. I should also point out, though, this is the second alternate reality where Wolverine actually married Jean Grey. It's interesting. It's an interesting idea. Also, Jubilee apparently decided to turn against the X-Men joined Magneto because she doesn't like stuff. She doesn't like where things are going, which is a bit bizarre. Also, the X-Men are wearing their 90s costumes for no reason. I mean, here's the cover for the first issue. You have Cyclops, Wolverine, Charles Xavier, and Jean Grey all wearing the Jim Lee costumes. Okay, I don't get why they had to wear the Jim Lee costumes, but okay, they're great costumes and all. But couldn't they just be wearing the costumes they were wearing at the time of Civil War? Like, I don't know, how about the John Cassidy costumes? Well, I get maybe Jean Grey. Now, apparently, also in reality, apparently Grant Morrison's run did not happen. Okay, that could explain why Jean Grey is alive. But why are the X-Men still wearing these costumes? I have absolutely no idea. Also, the whole thing with Venom. Yeah, that is something that apparently Liz Allen basically, somehow she got her hands on the Venom symbiote and gave it to Mary Jane because she was tired of taking her husband's powers because they were using Regent tech. Yep. And now Conway himself only does issues 6 through 9. And for the last 3 issues of this trade, it's all Ryan Stegman. Now, as why Conway left, I have no idea why he left. I mean, Conway himself was a great writer. I mean, once he's issue 9, it's like, what is he going to do now? As far as I know, he's not listed on any books as far as I know. As for Ryan Stegman, I think, yeah, he's going to be doing the Venom comic book soon. Yeah, he's doing the Venom comic book. But as for Conway, he's not listed anywhere. This is by far the only comic he was doing at Marvel. I mean, it only had been like, what, the 3rd comic he done Marvel? I think it was the 4th comic he done recently. I mean, the first comic he did once he came back was he did the Scarlet Spider series from Spider-Verse. Then he did Gang War, and then he did of course, did this series. And he did the Punisher annual. Yep, the annual that came out for the most recent Punisher series. He did that very annual, which I gotta praise him for actually doing that. And I love the fact he's come back to Spider-Man. A character he pretty much launched his career with, which is amazing the fact he came back to this character. And when I heard originally he was going to do this time, I'm like, yes, Conway's one of my favorite writers, and him doing this was fantastic. I got a chance to meet the guy. He's actually a very nice guy, and he's a redhead. I never knew that at all. I'd never seen a picture of him before. All of a sudden, wow, this is Jerry Conway. Great guy. And he even had like a list of all the characters he created. Like I look at these characters like, sweet Jesus. Like, some of these characters I recognize, but wow, it's a long list. It's almost as long as, like, let's say, characters that Stan Lee and Jack Kirby are credited for creating. And Conway's basically credited for creating almost as many as they have. Yeah. But which famous character created for Spider-Man? Well, aside from Punisher, he created Jackal, Grizzly. He created even Man-Thing. Yeah, Man-Thing. which is interesting. And when this thing ended, now they do reference in here Annie's age. Now, the last series pointed out that she was 5. That is completely untrue. According to this, Annie is actually 9. Okay? And then they do the 8-year time jump, so she's currently 17. So this means she's a senior in high school. And, oh, and by the way, the current writer is Jodie Foster. When I heard that she was taking over the book, like, okay, for the writing second, maybe okay, fine, but then I heard who replaced the writer, like, yes, Jodie Foster, great writer. And this is what she looks like now in the Jodie Foster book. Yeah, this blue outfit. As far as I know, she's still called Spinneret. Now, in my honest opinion, calling her Spinneret, I have a theory of why she was called that. Because people didn't want her to be called Spider-Girl because people want Mayday Parker. That is the only reason why I could think of the reason why she was called Spider-Man. As a matter of fact, she even suggested to call herself Spider-Girl, but Spider-Man said no. Now, the way Conway writes Spider-Man, it's kind of like what Bob Haney did with the Super Sons, the original version, not the current versions, one who is the current biological son of both Superman and the guy who's all, and we have John Kent and Damian, where the way it was early on was that the sons of Superman and Batman, where their fathers wanted nothing, they didn't want to do a crime-fighting career, they wanted to do something else. They think, oh yeah, only one crime-fighting family, so there's that. I think Conway must took inspiration from Bob Haney for that, but it's not like over the top like it was in Bob Haney's run. Here it's a bit small scale, but at least when she got older, she at least got a little more respect. Heck, even currently she's going to Midtown High, which is a high school Peter Parker himself went to. Now, I know this is my friend Tibia, one of my friend Tibia's favorite series right now. There's this series, Super Sons, Superman, Action Comics. This is probably by far the only title I can think of from Marvel he regularly reviews. I think he's reviewed this trade. I don't remember if he has or not, but if he has, Tibia, I'd like to hear your thoughts on this one because I found this to be really interesting. I like what Conway did. I like what Conway Stegman did with Venom in here. It's fantastic. And I'm going to give this book a 9.5 out of 10. It's just really good. I found it to be thoroughly enjoyable. Next up is a really good book, in my opinion, one of the best X books published by Marvel right now. X-Men Blue. By the way, they just wrapped up a crossover Poison X with Venom, which, yeah, they're actually stuck in space. Now, this collects issues 7 through 12. Book is still written by Colin Bunn. And the artwork is done by, and they actually have it listed in here. Now, it's Corey Smith, who does the artwork for issues 7 through 9, with Joy Ferradas on issue 8 and Tony Salas on issue 9. Now, the first 3 issues, like you can see on the cover here, are tied into Secret Empire, where the free people from Alcatraz and they get a chance to fight. Now, there's actually 2 characters pop up in this particular storyline who have not appeared in some time. In the case of Havoc, this is the first time since IVX, him and Emma Frost. When they first popped up in Secret Empire, this is the first time since Humans vs. X-Men they popped up. And also this one other character, I was a little surprised to see her again, and that's Miss Sinister. This is actually the first time she's actually popped up. When I read this again, like, okay, since this just came out last year, this is the first time since the X-23 series that she's popped up. Yeah, it's been a long time. I think the last known physical time she showed up in the comic book, I mean, it was back, I think it was like 2012. Yeah, because Miss Sinister was actually the main villain of the X-23 comic book. And it's great, though, they brought her character back. And, of course, we also had Jimmy Hudson pop up in the last trade. But in here, we had a return of a character from another different universe. I mean, first you have Jimmy Hudson from the Ultiverse, now you have Bloodstorm from Mutant X, which I'm like, okay, so is this book gonna become like, oh, it's the X-Men, it kind of reminds the Exiles, like, let's just bring like alternate X-Men characters from different universes for no reason. Bloodstorm and Jimmy Hudson, as far as I know, are stuck on Earth right now, and these two did not go into space. And it was something, though, the fact that they actually invited Bloodstorm to become part of the roster. Also, Polaris and Danger popped up in here. Here's the thing about those two. Danger, as far as I can tell for her, this is the first time in quite a while. I'm trying to think, when was the last time she popped up? I think it might have been the pages of Astonishing X-Men. No, it was not. It was All New X Factor. Yeah, that was the last known official time she popped up. And in that book, it was hilarious. It was one issue that she actually... First, she asked Polaris if she can have sex with her, and then she didn't get much reaction. Then she asked Scarlet Witch to have sex with her, and the person she had having sex with was Doug Ramsey. Even though that Ramsey's best friend, Warlock, had a thing for Danger. Not kidding. And she's no longer wearing her outfit. As for why she's no longer with the all-new X-Factor team, it's never explained. Yeah, that's just a weird thing whenever that series ended. Yeah, it's like, oh, let's just have like these characters never be mentioned again, and never mention what happened to the group. As far as I know, it has been 3 years since the series ended, and no one has bothered to explain what the heck happened to the group. Polaris, I think she did pop up for Inhumans vs. X-Men, but she may have played a small role in that, but this is first big role she's had since All New X Factor, and I'm glad Colin Bunn brought her back, which was amazing. Blair Riley, I think she was a character who was created by Kieran Gillen for his run for Uncanny X-Men, because it is something, though, that this character popped up, though she was also featured in Colin Bunn's Uncanny X-Men run, so it's not surprising that he brought this character back. Though he did also bring back Thrill Killer and Poison X, which is amazing. Now, overall, what do I think of this particular trade? It's really good. Yep, I really enjoyed it. I give this book a 9.5 out of 10. It's just amazing. Great tie-in to Secret Empire. Yeah, this is something, though. The Secret Empire tie-ins are good. And the main series is awful. Isn't that weird? It's so bizarre, though, the fact that the tie-ins are actually 10 times better than the main series Secret Empire, where it felt like, though, a lot of stuff was never explained in that thing. In here, it does feel like a good connection to Secret Empire. I mean, yeah, it does tie into the whole stuff of, like, there's a one-shot they released where it took place, like, where the mutants have their own country. Excuse me. Where it's based in California. And here's something interesting about that. They actually, the place was made in the country by Steve Rogers, who took over the country, and the place was called Titan. And here's the thing. It was revealed in Secret Empire that Emma Frost is actually the real ruler of Titan, of this particular mutant nation, while the figurehead is Zorn. I like the fact that Colin Bunn kept this character alive, because, well, this particular Zorn is not a creation of Grant Morrison. No, this one's a creation of Chuck Austin. One of probably the only thing good about his run he did for X-Men, though it lasted for a year. And also, Havoc is so evil. I'm kind of like, okay, at the time this came out, it had been 3 years since he turned evil, and he's still evil. And I'm thinking, though, can't you sort of undo this? I mean, this was done by Rick Remender, who did this, not Colin Bunn. So you can't blame Colin Bunn for writing Havoc the way he does. And Sabretooth, I think, is still a good guy. I don't know. I know Tony Stark is no longer evil because he's perfectly fine. Though Bendis does not give a damn about giving an explanation of how in the world he turned good again. But this is good. And what comes next after this? Mojo World. Yep, that crossover X-Men Legacy. And this is still a great book. I highly recommend if people are X-Men fans, especially fans of classic style X-Men stories. 9.5 out of 10. Amazing. Also, Emma Frost pops up in here as well. When she popped up in Mistaken Empire, first time since Humans vs. X-Men she's popped up. Oh, and it's been a year now, and no, it has not been explained who the heck she was talking to. There was a scene in Humans vs. X-Men, I remember this. I'm going to get the trade soon from the library. There's a scene there where she's talking to a woman, a blonde woman, and it was never explained who the heck she was talking to. Who this person is? Excuse me. No idea, because it could have been her sister, but it was never explained. It's been a full year, and as far as I know, Lemire and Charles Shaw just don't care to explain it. Yep. So that's it for this particular episode. Stay tuned for the next episode, which will be episode 545 and Doubleshot 451, where it's going to be, I believe it's going to be 2 more Spider-Man trades. Though, it'd be a Spider-Man Deadpool trade. Yeah, it'd be a Spider-Man Deadpool trade. 2 more trades for that one. One of whom is going to wrap up the creative team's run for the book. The other one is something else. And I will talk about how bizarre the creative team is for this particular series. But I'll talk about that in the next episode, okay? But until I see you next episode, bye.